Well, while we're just waiting for a few other people to drop in, it's just a good opportunity, I think, to explain what we're doing today, why we're doing it, and what we hope everybody can get from it. So this is going to be our monthly, I believe it's monthly, drop-in clinic. And the drop-in clinic, the idea behind it, I suppose, is to give us an opportunity to share with you any updates, any new features, anything that we think is shared that's relevant and valuable to you, so that all NOMI users or people considering joining NOMI can see and understand it, have a demonstration, or perhaps look at something that's very relevant to the industry at the moment, like making tax digital. We want these sessions to be as interactive as possible. So for any attendees who have a question, don't feel like you have to put your hand up or wait for a Q&A session. Please feel free in the chat box to drop any questions you've got in. And the questions can range from anything. We're talking about making tax digital today, but that doesn't mean that's what this session is limited to. If you have questions about other features or bookkeeping, payroll, then please, by all means, feel free to stick a question in there. I think the best way to hold these sessions is to always start off with a bit of a presentation from our side or an interactive session. We have Rahul with us today, who's the oracle when it comes to all things NOMI. So today, for example, he's going to share some background and a walkthrough on making tax digital. And in future sessions, we'll maybe see what's relevant in the industry, or if there's any repeat questions we see in our day-to-day work, can do stuff on that. Equally, if there are any topics that you would love to see a session on, again, please feel free to drop us an email or let us know in the chat, because this isn't just us presenting to you what we think is relevant. This should be a case of people who use NOMI or considering use NOMI, tell us what you want to see, tell us what you think is relevant, and tell us what we can share with you. And on today's one, we are going to talk about making tax digital. So it's probably the most relevant thing in the industry at the moment. I think almost every client that we're speaking to at the moment is asking us about our MTD capability, how simple it is, who qualifies, how it can be done, and how easy it can be. Challenge from an MTD perspective is everybody's doing this for the first time now. So we've created the technology, created the software, have the background and the processes in place, but there's still that steep learning curve for people who's got to do it for the first time. So we'll hand over to Rahul shortly, and he'll talk us through making tax digital from a NOMI perspective. We can look at how easy it can be and how you can use the software and how it's intended to be. Again, if any questions, if you want to stick your hand up or drop a note in the chat, the Q&A, by all means do so. So I think that covers it from me, and I probably should start the call by introducing myself. I'm Rob Campbell, by the way, so I'm the Sales and Relationship Director here at NOMI. I'll share my details with everybody who's joined today, so if anybody wants to have a conversation with me directly or me and Rahul directly, please feel free to reach out to me. Rahul, why don't I hand over to you now? So why don't you show us, from an accountant's perspective, exactly what MTD looks like, how they would do a quarterly submission, are the quarterly submissions linked to the end of year statement, show us how simple it can be, show us a few variations and what accountants and bookkeepers need to look out for. And this is your expert area, so let me hand over to you and you show us what you think is relevant.
Sure, Rob, thank you for that. So I have shared my screen. Can everyone see the screen? Okay, so in NOMI, the first step always is that we have to go into the settings side of things, and then what we have to do, we have to allow the software to interact on our behalf. And for that, we need to click on MTD for income tax. So here we need to go under the settings, Agent Hub, and there within the settings, we will find MTD for income tax. And here we have to click on read token. This is the first step. As we click on read token, it takes us to a screen where we have to allow the software to connect with HMRC, and then it will allow us to submit the quarterly submissions. So here then we have to click on continue and then sign in online using the agent credentials. So all the accountants, they have these credentials with them. They need to log in the user ID and password and click on sign in. So it's your usual agent account with HMRC that you will use, and you will have to log in here. Once you log in, it will take you back to this screen, and then you need to click on the right token, and you need to follow the same process. So you will see that alphanumeric tokens are generated on the screen, and then you have to click on save in the top right corner. So this is your first step. Now, once you have done this process, you don't have to follow it again and again. It is a one-time exercise. And from here, what you have to do, you have to navigate to the report section. Now, why it is important? Because we have released a client list MTD compliance report. And in this report, it will show you all the different users, the different sole traders, their property revenue and the self-employment revenue. And the total of both will qualify for the MTD purpose. Let's say the property revenue is £20,000 and then you have a £30,000 revenue as a sole trader, self-employed for your client. So combined, it is like 50,000 or 55,000. We can say it is like 35,000, the self-employment revenue. So the combined total MTD purpose, it is 55,000. So this is something we have to consider. And we have now provided a report within the software, which you can always download at your end, and you will get an idea clearly that out of 100 clients, let's say there are 100 customers, they are sole traders, and how many of them qualify for this. So you can have a clear idea on the screen. You can export the report as well. You have filter options. You can search for a particular client. You can enter the name. So all that is possible. And this is a very helpful report that is offered within Nomi. Where you will find it, you have to click on reports, and under self-assessment, you will find it as client list MTD compliance. So this is your second step. You need to take care of all those customers who are MTD ready. Now, after this, we are going to take example of one of the sole traders, and I will show you how we have to file the quarterly submissions. So I'll move into the client list and I'll enter the name of that sole trader. So Sarah is one of the sole trader here, and I'll just click on the name. It will take me to the dashboard, the individual dashboard there. So as you can see, like we are all aware of this dashboard. We've used many a times Nomi to file the tax returns. Now here we have provided MTD for income tax. So this is the first step for the MTD purpose. We need to click on MTD for income tax. As we click on MTD for income tax, we are on the screen, and you will see that for that particular sole trader who is registered with HMRC for the MTD income tax, all the information will pull through from HMRC. You are not going to update the business details or anything related to the property income by yourself. All this will come through from HMRC because you have generated the tokens, you have given the access to the software to interact on your behalf. So that's there. Now, what we have to do on the business details page, the first thing we have to do is we have to define the quarter. So for that, we have to click on view details. Now, as we click on view details, here we will find the option to switch it between standard and calendar. So for you guys, you will see that there is an option in the drop down as standard and calendar quarter. So calendar quarter starts on 1st of April and standard quarter starts on 6th of April. So it is your choice. You can select calendar quarter if you want to report your clients on a calendar quarter. So it will be from 1st of April and then 3 months. So April, May and June. So on 30th of June, otherwise it is 6th of April to 5th of June. Then 6th of June to the next 3 months. So it will go on like that. So you will have to define it. If you do not define it, then Nomi will pick the standard quarter as the default, which is starting from 6th of April. Now, once these periods are defined for the property income or the sole trader business, then after that, we have to move into the quarter obligations. In quarter obligations, you will see that all the 4 quarters along with the business ID, start date, end date, and a due date will appear. And the first step here is that you will get a plus icon. So this icon will be there. In my case, I've already entered the data. That's why I'm getting an edit icon. But in your case, in your client's case, you will see a plus icon. You will have to click on that. As you will click on the plus icon, you will see the screen. There will be no data over here. And then you need to click on the edit icon. You'll find an edit icon or you'll find a new icon in the top right corner. So you just need to click on that. As you click on that, then it will take you to the screen where you will see that the trade description, business name, trading postcode, all these details are coming from HMRC. You're not going to update any of these things. All you need to do is update the turnover. So the turnover you need to update. Once you update the turnover, then you have the allowable business expenses. So you need to update all the information under the business expenses. So you are entering the turnover, then you're entering the business expenses. And then after entering the business expenses, you will see what is the taxable profit or loss. So it will show you on the screen. Once you have entered all this information, if there are any capital allowances or CIS deductions, you can enter them as well. And after reviewing all this information, you will have to click on save. So your first quarter information is entered. Now, once you enter the quarterly information here for the first quarter, then after that, you can click on back. As you will click on back, it will again take you to the screen where the information is entered. And we have a cumulative summary. So what HMRC is doing, it is collecting a cumulative data. So let's say you have submitted the first quarter. So whatever data you have submitted in the first quarter, and when you are ready with the second quarter, at that time, it will also include the details of the first quarter that you have submitted to HMRC. So it is basically a cumulative summary. So the second quarter will include the details of the first quarter. The third quarter will include the details of the first and the second quarter. And the fourth quarter will include the details of the first, second, and the third quarter. So this is how these submissions will be made. Now, once you have reviewed everything, you have to then click on submit. As you will click on submit, you will get a notification that are you ready to submit this? And then you have to just click on yes. So as you click on yes, it will be submitted to HMRC from here. So this is how you can make the quarterly submission. Now, once you have made the quarterly submission, there are a few other options apart from this. And the next is history. So history will always show you that what all submissions you have done. So here we saw that it is only for self-employment. We saw that we were trying to submit the quarter, but let's say we have the UK property. So if the client is also having income from UK property, a rental income, so that rental income also we have to report, and these quarters will be there. So it's a similar process, only these different income types are reported. That is, one is under the self-employment income and another is the UK property. So we have to report both of them. And if the combined total, let's say in the self-employment, the turnover is 35,000 and 20,000 is the rental income. So then it is a combined total. It is considered in that way. So it is 55,000 and you will have to report it from the month of April. Then after that, we have the tax summary. History will always show you the submissions that you have made. Tax summary will show that what is the type of submission, whether it has been failed, is it rejected, what's the liability, all that you can check under the tax summary tab. And then we have the final declaration. So under final declaration, it will show you this sort of form where you have to then click on view. So whatever information you enter apart from your income that is to be reported through the MTD quarterly submission, here you will have that details like foreign income, student loan, high income child benefit charge, marriage allowance, all that you will see. And these different sections are already available within the SA 100. So in final declaration, it will be similar to what you file like an annual return, one-off return that you do at the moment. And the deadline is 31st of January. So for this also, the deadline is 31st of January 2027. And that you will have to file by 31st of January. That is the final declaration. And this is what we have in the current structure. So final declaration, we need to file by 31st of January 2027. That is the deadline. So this was a quick overview. If you are looking to do for the businesses, like if the businesses want to do it, or you want to do it using the client's credentials, if you're not authorized, that is also possible. You just need to click on this setup MTD. As you click on setup MTD, you will find the option here to authorize for the clients. So you can use the client credentials, you can authorize the software, and then you can make the quarterly submissions. And businesses can also do the same. So Nomi is MTD ready. You can file the MTD tax returns directly from the software, one by one for all the quarters. Yeah, Rob.
That was really good. That's really good. I think simplicity is what makes this module within NOMI so good. Simplicity and the fact that the quarters are all linked, because we know the challenges. We know the challenges of dealing with clients and data. We know that things can change. So I think that's a really good overview of just how simple MTD can be. If anybody has any questions, now's the time. Please do put them in the Q&A box, because we're happy to go through it. Like I say, we want this to be interactive. There is a free trial as well. So if anybody's here who's considering using NOMI for MTD, or potentially even using MTD for themselves, we've seen a big rise in our NOMI user base, haven't we, of sole traders, landlords coming directly to NOMI for their MTD filing rather than do it alternatively. A couple of questions from me then, Rahul, if I can, based on what I know that we hear at a very high level, especially from our non-accountancy users. So in terms of when tax is paid, that hasn't changed, has it?
Yeah, so this is your income and expenses you are reporting right now. So
and the
yeah,
payment
the
to
quarterly
HMRC, the deadline for the payment to HMRC hasn't changed though, has it? It's still the 31st of January.
Yeah, it is still the 31st of January.
And HMRC have given us a bit of a soft landing, haven't they? I believe they've said that from a submissions and a timings wise, there'll be no fines for the first year while everybody gets to grips with the new systems and the new software and way of working.
Yes, Rob.
Yeah, that's great. Just waiting to see if we do have any Q&As coming in. Here's a question we have for you. Are you able to link a bookkeeping client to Making Tax Digital?
Yeah, so digital record keeping is one of the things HMRC is expecting. So any of your customers who are using Excel, you will have to ask them to move on to the software. And NOMI is a great platform. We offer the bookkeeping as well. So all the record keeping you can do in the bookkeeping. And this data is then linked into the quarters. So different quarters which are there. So whenever you're doing any quarterly submissions, you can get all the information from the bookkeeping directly into the quarters, and that will be linked digitally. So you don't have to do anything manually, basically. So everything will be linked.
And to that question, I can send you the pricing details as well if you wanted to see, because we do bookkeeping, don't we, Rahul? And we also do bookkeeping plus MTD for exactly that scenario. Another question just come in about submission credits for each submission. How does that work? Previously, we're using 1 credit per submission. So, Rahul, maybe you could tell us about the MTD submission credit system.
Yeah, so for like when you are making these submissions, the quarterly submissions, the prices are a bit different. So earlier it was 1 credit for 1 submission, but now that's not the case. It's a bit different. So I think it is on the quarterly basis. So whenever you make a quarterly submission, you will be charged accordingly.
So there'll be 4 quarterly submissions for 4 credits, and then 1 final end of year statement or final accounts credit required. So it's important then with your accountants to make sure that clients are educated. You have to share with them the extra work that you'll have to do on their behalf, and that there's more work, and that the cost has to reflect that. So 4 submission credits for your quarterly submissions, and then 1 end of year credit or 1 final submission credit at the end of the year.
Yes, Rob.
Great. Just wait and see if we've got any more questions coming in. And Rahul, do you think that more landlords will opt for doing MTD themselves now because of this, or do you think that many will push out to existing accountants?
Yeah, if someone has to report only the rental income, they can use the software as a business. They can make the submission. But yeah, at the same time, like since quarterly submissions are there, they can reach out to the accountants so that they can take care of everything, because digital record keeping is involved. So bookkeeping is required here. And then after that, the yearly submission is also there, like that final declaration that has to be done. So they can reach out to the accountants and who can help them with everything on the digital record keeping, how they can manage it and do the quarterly submissions on their behalf.
Now, another question's just come in. I want my client to pay for using MTD software. How much is the fee? So again, if you can give us slightly more context without giving us any specific information, are you saying you want them to pay for the 4 quarterly submissions, or are you saying you want them to do bookkeeping through NOMI and MTD? If you can give us a little bit of context there, or even if you want to message me directly, we can have that conversation. But it's a credit-based submission for 4 quarters and 1 for end of year statement. If you want to link it to bookkeeping, we have a typical bookkeeping, which starts from around £8, but it's reduced based on volume. And then we have bookkeeping with MTD, which is the bookkeeping with the submission included for the quarterly and end of year. Lovely. Just waiting to see. Was there anything else you wanted to mention, Rahul? Do you think there's anything accountants should start to look at now or start to review their processes and their foundations for what's about to change?
Yeah, Rob. So we have prepared a 16-point guideline for the accountants that they should follow before the MTD starts from 6th of April. So that we can definitely share with all of them.
Yeah, lovely. And I believe the bookkeeping with the MTD submission, can you remember the cost per client per month off the top of your head, Rahul?
Yeah, so bookkeeping will be like per month you're doing it, and then you have a quarterly submission for that. So that is also in place, and then a final declaration. So bookkeeping for 12 months, then 4 submissions on the 4 quarters and 1 final declaration.
Yeah, and our cost for bookkeeping with MTD is per month. Do you remember off the top of your head?
Yeah, that is per month.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, and to the person who's asked that question, I'll drop you an email if you like. If you haven't already, I can offer you a free trial. I can send you some bespoke pricing around both with and without, and then you can have a play around with that. Okay, I'm just waiting to see if there's any other questions coming in. How do we register the trial for MTD software, please? I believe we can share a link. We should be able to share a link. There is a free trial on the website, which you can go to, but I believe we should be able to share a link with all attendees. If someone from marketing can give me a thumbs up if that's possible, then we can send everyone a link round. From that, you can download it. You have 30 days. You have full access to all the modules, not just MTD, but also payroll, bookkeeping. So you can do it from there. Okay, just give it a minute or so. Okay. Lovely. Okay, I think we might have exhausted the questions now. All right, lovely. Well, listen, I think this was a really good start and a really useful session for all our everybody who attended today. Like I say, we'll share free trial. The people who ask specific questions around cost, I'll catch up with you separately so we can have that conversation. We'll release another email shortly about when our next drop-in session will be. If you have any thoughts on any areas you'd like to look at, if not, we'll always come up with some proactive ones we think are going to be relevant. We might even do an MTD recap a couple months down the line once people have been their first few submissions. But thank you to everyone that's Rahul, thank you for your time. Very, very informative and very useful. I think we'll sign off there. And again, thanks for everybody from NOMI.
Thank you all.
Lovely. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.